Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something we all face but rarely talk about, transforming our deep anxiety around conflict into a truly empowering, world-class communication skill. Picture the absolute most stressful conversations you've ever had. You know the feeling, right? The sweaty palms, the racing mind, that heavy lingering regret over things you either said or really wish you'd said. Well, what if I told you that you could completely rewrite that script? Today, we are breaking down the legendary principles from Kerry Patterson's book, Crucial Conversations, and we're going to decode exactly how to navigate high-stakes dialogue with absolute mastery.
But first, we really have to face the ultimate villain of our story. Think about it for a second. Why do our most important conversations usually go the worst? When the stakes are at their absolute highest, like when your career, your most important relationship, or literally just your peace of mind is on the line, that is precisely the moment our communication skills tend to just completely disintegrate. We stumble, we freeze up, or we attack. Why in the world does this happen?
Okay, let's dive into this. A crucial conversation isn't just your everyday chat about the weather or what you're grabbing for lunch. It's specifically defined by three highly combustible ingredients. First up, the stakes are high. Something big is on the line. Second, opinions vary, meaning you and the other person definitely do not see eye to eye. And third, emotions run strong. When you mix high stakes, differing opinions, and raw, unfiltered emotion, you no longer have a conversation. You've got a crucible.
To conquer this crucible, we're going to need our Mastery Toolkit for high-stakes dialogue. Think of this as your magic arsenal for the journey ahead. We'll quickly cover the high-stakes conversation trap, dive into the pool of shared meaning, learn how to spot danger and create safety, move on to mastering your internal stories, navigating the communication path, and finally, moving to decisive action.
All right, step one, the high-stakes conversation trap. And if you want the ultimate testing ground for these skills, just look at the specific complex dynamics of the Indian workplace, or those incredibly intricate family structures we all navigate. That is where these traps really show up.
When we enter these high-stake zones, our biological fight-or-flight instincts just completely take over. Your heart spikes, adrenaline floods your system, your breathing gets shallow, you panic, and instantly, you fall into one of two toxic traps: silence or violence. Either you flee into silence, masking your real feelings with sarcasm, avoiding the issue, or withdrawing completely. Or you surge right into violence, trying to control the narrative, labeling people, or verbally attacking. Let me tell you, neither works. They are guaranteed traps.
So let's move to step two, the pool of shared meaning. This right here is the central visual metaphor of our journey. It's the ultimate destination where mutual respect actually thrives and the very best decisions are born. So how do we actually escape those biological traps we just talked about? We create this pool of shared meaning. When two people talk, they naturally bring totally different experiences to the table. And the goal here isn't to just drain their pool into yours. It's to add everyone's ideas into one collective pool. Think about giving feedback to a struggling team member. You shouldn't just force your views onto them, right? You need to actively listen, draw out their unique perspective, and actually add it to the shared pool. Because when a pool is filled with way more shared information, the decisions that emerge are just undeniably better. But to fill that pool, you have to start with heart. What do I really want for myself, for others, and for the relationship? When conversations get heated, our ego basically takes the wheel. We forget our actual goal and just try to win. Or worse, we try to destroy the other person in a blaze of glory. But say you're sitting down to ask your boss for a promotion. Your goal isn't to defeat them or prove they've been unfair. No, your true goal is to demonstrate your value and build a long-term, mutually beneficial relationship. Always, always keep your heart focused on that real motive.
Which brings us to section 3, spotting danger and creating safety. You've got to learn to look for those immediate warning signs when a conversation stops being safe and starts turning hostile.
And here's the foundational truth you need to remember. Listen to this carefully. Safety requires two things: mutual purpose and mutual respect. People will only truly open up to you, they will only share their real, unfiltered feelings when they feel deeply secure and profoundly respected by you. If someone even slightly senses that you have a hidden agenda to harm them or that you look down on them, boom, their defensive walls will instantly slam shut.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we practically rebuild that safety the exact second it shatters. We use a brilliant little technique called contrasting. Contrasting instantly restores safety by first stating what your intention is not, followed immediately by what it is. Imagine someone gets super defensive during a project review. You just step back and say, hey, my intention isn't to find faults or minimize your hard work. My intention is to figure out how we can make this project incredibly successful together. The absolute moment you clarify what you don't want, you completely disarm their defenses. It's like magic.
All right, Section 4, mastering your internal stories. Because our emotions don't actually come directly from other people's actions, they come from the internal compass of our own fabricated narratives.
We so often think our intense emotions are caused by what others do to us. But honestly, that's an illusion. Let's dramatically walk through this revealing cycle, the path to action. Step 1. An action occurs. Say, a colleague completely ignores your idea in a meeting. Step 2. The story. Your brain immediately fabricates a narrative. Oh, they're actively trying to sabotage my career. Step 3. Emotion. Because of that wild story, you feel deeply hurt and intensely angry. And finally, Step 4. Behavior. You act out, maybe by snapping at them later in the break room. To break this destructive cycle, you have to challenge your own story. Ask yourself, why else would a reasonable person act this way? Could they just be incredibly stressed? Control your stories and you literally control your emotions.
Now for Section 5, navigating the communication path. This is all about the tactical trials of a live argument and how to skillfully execute your dialogue when the pressure is really on.
And this brilliantly illustrates the state framework. When the pressure is on and you need to express something really sensitive, you follow this. S. Share your facts. Always anchor your argument in non-controversial, observable facts first. T. Tell your story. Explain the conclusion you've drawn from those facts. A. Ask for others' paths. Genuinely invite their perspective into the mix. T. Talk tentatively. Present your story as an opinion, not some absolute cosmic truth. Say, I'm starting to feel like, instead of you always do this. And E. Encourage testing. Actively invite them to disagree with you. Make it completely safe for them to push back.
But what if the other person is still stuck in that trap of silence or violence? Well, you actively pull them out using AMPP skills. A. Ask them directly how they are feeling. M. Mirror the discrepancy you see, like mirroring the huge difference between their fine words and their anxious tone. You could say, you're saying everything is fine, but your tone sounds really anxious. P. Paraphrase what they've said in your own words so they know they are truly, genuinely being heard. And the last P. Prime. If they are still completely shut down, take a respectful guess at what they might be thinking just to jumpstart the dialogue.
Finally, Section 6, moving to decisive action. This is the ultimate reward of the communicator's journey, transforming all these carefully chosen words into concrete, measurable actions.
So, the crucial point is this. Having a wonderfully safe, shared pool of meaning is fantastic, but if it doesn't actually lead the change, it was just talk. We absolutely must transform words into concrete actions through an execution plan. First, decide your method. Is this a command, a consultation, a vote, or a consensus? Then you need to ruthlessly clarify the specifics. Who is doing what, by when, and exactly how will we follow up? Without a crystal clear plan of who does what by when, even the absolute best dialogue is totally useless. It'll just evaporate into thin air. Accountability is the bridge between a great conversation and a real result.
We've covered the trap, the pool, the safety, the stories, the state framework, and the execution. You now have the complete mastery toolkit. So I'll leave you with this final empowering thought. The very next time the stakes are high, opinions vary, and emotions are running hot, will you succumb to those biological traps of silence and violence? Or will you use these exact tools to step up, create safety, and absolutely master your next high-stakes dialogue? The choice and the power is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.